morning, Otterbein, Lebanon. How are we tonight? Okay, now let's try that like we really mean it. How are we tonight? All right, for those of you that don't know me, I am Sue Suskind. I am your Director of Independent Living Services here at Otterbein, and I thank you for that every day that I'm here. We're going to get started in a minute, but I wanted to introduce a few people. Assisting tonight, obviously with this event, is Renee Harlow, who's in the back, and she's your program manager. Let's have a round of applause for Renee. All right, also assisting us is Kevin George, and he is your audio manager. One more time for Kevin. And I want to thank you all for coming tonight, and we have an amazing show. So if we could start by giving a round of applause for our performers, even though you haven't seen them, just to let them know how excited you are, that would be great. Awesome. So we have so much talent here at Otterbein. It's just amazing. Tonight alone, we're going to have a pastor, musicians, knitters, woodworkers, a student, a puppet, and much more. So without further delay, we're going to get this started, and I would like to welcome to this stage the beautiful Lois Sargent, and she is going to treat us to sweet melodies.
Yeah, here we go. Oh, I'm sorry I'm taking up so much time. I'm taking up part of my time.
You think she was blind?
Now, tonight, I'm going to put Edith and Archie away after tonight. This is going to be my swan song with Edith and Archie. Like the way Glenn Miller played songs that made the hit parade. Guys like us, we had it made. Those were the days, and you knew who you were. Girls were girls and men were men. Brother, we could use a man like Herbert Hoover again. Didn't need no welfare state. Everybody pulled his weight. Gee, our old LaSalle ran great. Those were the days.
Thank you, Lois. That was just amazing. Awesome job.
You see why they need to be put to sleep after tonight. Okay, now the first song, I'm going to do two songs, but I'm weaving them into one. The first one is Around the World, but it's not going to take me 80 days. And then there's a tree in the meadow. Around the world, I've searched for you. I traveled on when hope was gone to keep a rendezvous. I knew sometime, somewhere, somehow, you'd look at me and I would see the smile you're smiling now. It might have been in County Down, in old New York, in gay Paris, or even London town. No more will I go on around the world, for I have found my world in you. There's a tree in the meadow with the stream drifting by, tree. I love you till I die. When all at once down Lover's Lane a silhouette I see, you were kissing someone else. I wish it were me by that tree in the meadow. My heart will always lie. Where'er you go, you'll always know I love you till I die.
How about a round of applause for Lois? Thank you for sharing your beautiful voice with us. And now I'm going to welcome Mr. Frank Colon to the stage. This is the fantastic duo right here. And Frank is going to treat us to Time on My Hands and Linda.
Oh, yes, that's it. Somebody said, you're kind of the Frank Sinatra of Otterbein. That's not exactly right. What they actually said, Frank Sinatra is spinning his grave if anybody says you're the Frank Sinatra of Otterbein. So I just wanted to make that clear. Okay. Well, we're going to do a song now that was sung by one of my singing heroes, a young man who died way too young in the 1930s. Do any of you remember Russ Columbo? Yeah. Russ, unfortunately, died at the hands of his manager, who Russ bought a dueling pistol, and they thought it wasn't loaded. And the guy shot Russ right in the head. And but he was Crosby's main competition in the early 30s. So it's called Time on My Hands. Time on my hands, you in my arms, nothing but love in view. Then if you fall once and for all, I'll see my dreams come true. Moments to share with someone you care for. One love affair for two. Oh, I've got time on my hands, and you in my arms, and love in my heart for you. Time on my hands, you in my arms, one love affair for two. Then if you fall once and for all, you'll make my dreams come true. Moments to spare with someone you care for. One love affair for two. Oh, I've got time on my hands, and you in my arms, and love in my heart, all for you. I like all the old singers. There was a guy by the name of Buddy Clark. Any of you remember him? He was a fabulous singer. Died too young also. He stepped out of an airplane while it was still moving in 1948. But what a great singer he was. He was the most popular vocalist in 1939, 1940, and 1941. And that gives you an idea that he was competing with Crosby, with Sinatra, and he was still number one. But he made the mistake of stepping out of an airplane when it was still moving. So the song that he did was called Linda. And I love that song since I was a little boy, so we're going to do it now. When I go to sleep, I never count sheep. I count all the charms about Linda. If only she'd smile, I'd stop for a while, and then I would get to know Linda. But really, does it matter? For Linda doesn't know I exist. Can't help feeling gloomy. Think of all the lovin' I have missed. We pass on the street, my heart skips a beat. I say to myself, hello, Linda. If only she'd smile, I'd stop for a while, and then I would get to know Linda. But miracles still happen. And when my lucky star begins to shine, with one lucky break I'll make Linda mine. When I go to sleep, I never count sheep. I count all the charms about Linda. And lately it seems, in all of my dreams, I walk with my arms around Linda. But what good does it do me? For Linda doesn't know I exist. Can't help feeling gloomy. Think of all the lovin' I have missed. We pass on the street, my heart skips a beat. I say to myself, hello, Linda. If only she'd smile, I'd stop for a while, and then I would get to know Linda. But miracles still happen, and when my lucky star begins to shine, with one lucky break I'll make Linda mine.
Thank you. And that was just the first two acts, ladies and gentlemen. Are we not off to an amazing start here at Otterbein, Lebanon? A lot of talent right here. All right, next to the stage, I'm going to call one of my favorite Marble Hall buddies, Bruce Campbell, on up. Come on up, Bruce. Round of applause for Bruce. Bruce is going to tickle these ivories for us. Excellent job, Bruce. Thank you so much. You did excellent. Listen to that Otterbein cheer for you. All right, now we are going to have come to this stage. We're going to transport you into a tropical island somewhere. You can close your eyes and use your imagination. And we are going to welcome to this stage Tropical Vibes.
Well, aloha. Let's try that again, everybody, as loud as you can, because you're going to be transported to Honolulu. Ready? Aloha. I'm sorry, I'm kind of elderly and my hearing's going. Let's hear it. I've got grandchildren in the front. Let's hear you. I know you're noisy. Aloha. Very good, very good. Well, we're going to transport you for a little 5-minute trip to the Hawaiian Islands tonight, and we're going to do a very beautiful song for you called Mapuana. And this is a love song. This is a love story about a young man that's very much in love with a gal named Mapuana. And he professes his love by comparing her beauty to the beauty of his homeland, Hawaii.
Take us away, ladies.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Can you feel the trade winds blowing?
Yes, and the hula trees, the palm trees, hula palm trees, swaying.
Anybody celebrating anything special tonight while we're waiting? No one? No one? How about Labor Day? Yay! Whose birthday? Where's Ann? Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Ann!
Do we have time for a quick round of happy birthday, or are you ready to go? Let's do it. Happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ann. Happy birthday to you. the stars on high, and says that you're by far as bright as any star. Sweet dreams, Mapuana, till morning meets the dew. One kiss of sweet aloha, aloha, I love you. I hear soft wind sighing your lovely name to me, and hula palm trees swaying to rhythms of the sea. The moon up in the sky whispers to the stars on high, and says that you're by far as bright as any star. Sweet dreams, Mapuana, till morning meets the dew. One kiss of sweet aloha, aloha, I love you. Mahalo. Mahalo.
Thank you, ladies. That was absolutely beautiful. That was Ro Barons, Billy Joe Sanders, and Carol Jeffries. And I want to thank you. Now I don't have to use PTO days because I feel like I just went to Hawaii. I don't quite want to get back to work now, but thanks a lot. I don't think we were expecting any deliveries. I'm sorry, I don't think she's here. I don't know. I don't see anybody jumping out of their seat.
Well, where's she at?
I don't know. Nobody had a scheduled delivery this evening I'm aware of.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Lipstick.
Mrs. Lipstick, if you're here, please stand up. All right, next to the stage, we are going to ask to come up Austin Fish, and he is going to treat us to a poem called The Cremation of Sam McGee.
Most of you are probably aware that over the past few years I've read a number of Robert Service's poems. The Iceworm Cocktail, The Shooting of Dan McGee, The Ballad of Hard Luck Harry, and of course, The Cremation of Sam McGee. The Cremation is probably his most well-known poem, so here it goes. The Cremation of Sam McGee by Robert W. Service. There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The Northern Lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake Labarge, I cremated Sam McGee. Now, Sam McGee was from Tennessee, where the cotton blooms and blows. Why he left his home in the South to roam, God only knows. He was always cold, but the land of gold seemed to hold him like a spell, though he'd often say in his homely way that he'd sooner live in hell. On a Christmas day, we were mushing our way over the Dawson Trail. Talk of your cold through the parka's fold, it stabbed like a driven nail. If our eyes we closed, then the lashes froze, and sometimes we couldn't see. It wasn't much fun, but the only one to whimper was Sam McGee. And that very night, as we lay packed tight in our robes beneath the snow, and the dogs were fed and the stars o'erhead were dancing heel and toe, he turned to me, and Cap, says he, I'll cash in this trip, I guess. And if I do, I'm asking that you won't refuse my last request. Well, he seemed so low that I couldn't say no. Then he said with a sort of a moan, it's this cursed cold, and it's got right hold till I'm chilled clean through to the bone. Yet 'tain't being dead that's my awful dread of an icy grave that pains. So I want you to swear that foul or fair, you'll cremate my last remains. A pal's last need is a thing to heed, and I swore I would not fail. And we started on at the streak of dawn, but God, he looked ghastly pale. He crouched on the sleigh and raved all day of his home in Tennessee. And before nightfall, a corpse was all that was left of Sam McGee. There wasn't a breath in that land of death, and I hurried horror-driven, with a corpse half hid that I couldn't get rid because of a promise given. It was lashed to the sleigh, and it seemed to say, you may tax your brawn and brains, but you promised true, and it's up to you to cremate these last remains. Now a promise made is a debt unpaid, and the trail has its own stern cold. In the days to come, though my lips were numb, in my heart how I cursed that load. In the long, long night by the lone firelight, while the huskies round in a ring howled out their woes to the endless snows, oh God, how I loathed that thing. And every day that quiet clay seemed to heavier and heavier grow. And on I went, though the dogs were spent, and the grub was getting low. The trail was bad, and I felt half mad, but swore I would not give in. And I'd often sing to that hateful thing, and it hearkened with a grin. Till I came to the marge of Lake LaBarge, and a derelict there lay. It was jammed in the ice, but I saw no thrice. It was called the Mary May. I looked at it, and I thought a bit, and I looked at my frozen chum. Then here, said I with a sudden cry, is my crematorium. Some planks I tore from the cabin floor and lit the boiler fire. Some coal I found that was lying around, and I heaped the fuel higher. The flames just soared and the furnace roared, such a blaze you seldom see. And I burrowed a hole in the glowing coal, and I stuffed in Sam McGee. Then I made a hike, but I didn't like to hear him sizzle so. And heaven scowled, and the huskies howled, and the wind began to blow. It was icy cold, but the hot sweat rolled down my cheeks, and I don't know why. And the greasy smoke in an inky cloak went streaking down the sky. I do not know how long in the snow I wrestled with grisly fear, but the stars came out and they danced about ere again I ventured near. I was sick with dread, but I bravely said, I'll just take a peek inside. I guess he's cooked, and it's time I looked. Then the door I opened wide. And there sat Sam, looking cool and calm in the heart of the furnace roar. And he wore a smile you could see a mile, and he said, please close that door. It's fine in here, but I greatly fear that you'll let in the cold and storm. Since I left Plum Tree down in Tennessee, it's the first time I've been warm. There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. And the Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake LaBarge. I cremated Sam McGee.
Thank you, Austin. All right, we're going to keep this going with Ed Pellet and Melody Fishbaugh with some Broadway favorites.
I understand that for some of you, euphonium is something new. And I was asked if I would be willing to talk a little bit about my euphonium. There's an interesting story behind it. In the year 1940, the Pellet family was living in Butler, Indiana, about 8 miles from the Ohio State border. My dad, the Reverend Darius H. Pellet, was pastor of the Butler United Brethren Church. I finished my sophomore year in Brooke High School that year in 1940, and I was a member of the Butler High School band that went to the national band contest that year and was playing the euphonium that was directed by a 67-year-old lady, Mrs. Lida M. Stage. And she's the one who got a euphonium for me, or actually it was a baritone at that time, but she got the baritone and taught me how to play, which is a bass clef instrument. Now, baritone and euphonium play the same way, the same fingering, almost the same tone. It's a bass clef instrument. And in early 1940, she had ordered a new euphonium for me from Kahn in Elkhart, Indiana. And at the beginning of my junior year in high school, which was 1940, in early September, at the annual conference of the United Brethren Church that was held in Lake Wawasee, Indiana, my dad was appointed to a new charge, which was Brooke, Indiana, 185 miles across the state. My parents had been a classmate of an elementary teacher at Brooke School who lived right back of the school and made arrangements for me to stay in their home for 2 weeks so I could begin my junior year at Brooke High School. The band director, Paul Egley, was able to borrow a euphonium for me so I could play in the band. And the band turned out to be an excellent one with an outstanding director that had gotten the first division in the state contest that year. Now, a new euphonium by Mrs. Stage had not yet arrived. But the week after Christmas, I got a telephone call from her saying the horn had arrived, and my older brother, Wesley, and I hitchhiked those 185 miles to Butler, Indiana, to pick up and bring home the horn in 0 weather. When we got there, we found it wrapped in brown paper with no horn case. It cost me $93. We headed back hitchhiking for Brooke, Indiana, and got as far as Peru, Indiana, which was 40 miles from Brooke. It was cold. We called Dad to tell him where we were, and he came to get us. Now, Dad had been a carpenter and a cabinet maker before entering the ministry, and he made a sketch of my horn, made a case out of plywood and tin, the tin for the bell, and he lined the inside with maroon velvet, the outside with black imitation leather, and I used that for 25 years before it finally fell apart. Now, I had my instrument looked at a few years ago to find out what its current value is, and I found it's worth $1,650. My euphonium is a bell front. That means the bell is turned toward you, and 3 valve. Now, there are baritones and euphoniums that play the very same thing. The tone is the same. And there are both baritones or euphoniums that are upright. And there are some that have 4 vowels, and some that have 5. Mine is a bell front with 3 of the vowels. Now, it's a little bit hard to be in tune and to make everything right when a brass instrument is cold. And I've been trying to keep mine warm over here holding it and blowing into it every now and then, so it might be maybe it won't be freezing when I play. And if I miss some notes, why, it's kind of hard while it's free. If I could have gone back here and played for 10 minutes or so and had it warm, why, I'd be more comfortable. But we're going to do it the way it is. And melody is my accompanist. We practiced 3 songs for this. One was Edelweiss. The second one was Get Me to the Church on Time, and 76 trombones. And that's the one we're going to play.
Well, that sounded pretty darn good to me. It sounded warmed up, that's for sure. Thank you. Anybody else feel like marching for a few minutes? I don't know how many times I have to tell you we're not expecting a delivery here. We are not expecting a delivery. Once again, is there Mrs. Lipstick in the audience? Mrs. Lipstick, if you're here, please stand up. Sir, I think you have the wrong building. I think you might have the wrong building.
No, Mrs. Lipstick's here.
Do you see her standing up anywhere? I do not see her.
I don't, no.
Okay, once again, if Mrs. Lipstick is here, could you please stand up?
Okay, Mrs. Lipstick, you're missing out. I got a delivery for you.
I think you should check down the road maybe. Like far down the road. Okay, next we are going to welcome to the stage John Tonkin, and he's going to be doing some sing-along songs on his ukulele for us this evening.
Fine. If you saw the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, hold up your hand. Did you like it? The first song in the movie, which they don't complete, is this one. One evening as the sun went down and the jungle fires were burning, down the track came a hobo hiking, and he said, boys, I'm not turning. I'm headed for a land that's far away beside the crystal fountains. So come with me, we'll go and see the big rock candy mountain. In the big rock candy mountains, there's a land that's fair and bright, where your handouts grow on bushes and you sleep out every night, where the boxcars all are empty and the sun shines every day on the birds and the bees in the cigarette trees, the lemonade springs where the bluebird sings in the big rock candy mountains. In the big rock candy mountains, all the cops have wooden legs, and the bulldogs all have rubber teeth, and the hens lay soft-boiled eggs. The farmers' trees are full of fruit, and the barns are full of hay. Oh, I'm bound to go where there ain't no snow, rains don't fall and the winds don't blow in the big rock candy mountains. In the big rock candy mountains, you never change your socks, and the little streams of alcohol come trickling down the rocks. The brakemen have to tip their hats and the railroad bulls are blind. There's a lake of stew and of whiskey too. You can paddle all around them in a big canoe in the big rock candy mountains. In the big rock candy mountains, the jails are made of tin, and you can walk right out again as soon as you are in. In. There ain't no short-handled shovels, no axes, saws, or picks. Oh, I'm bound to stay where they sleep all day, where they hung the jerk that invented work in the big rock candy mountains. I'll see you all, I'll see you all this coming fall in the big rock candy mountains. Now, this next one I know you'll recognize, and I'd like you to sing along with the chorus, which I'll start with. Well, I won't start with it, but you'll recognize the chorus right away, I'm sure. So when you hear the chorus, sing along. Oh me, oh my, oh you, whatever shall I do? Hallelujah. The question is peculiar. I'd give a lot of dough if only I could know the answer to my question. Is it yes or is it no? Does your chewing gum lose its flavor on the bedpost overnight? If your mother says don't chew it, do you swallow it in spite? Can you catch it on your tonsils? Can you heave it left and right? Does your chewing gum lose its flavor on the bedpost overnight? Got it? That's the chorus. Here comes the blushing bride. The groom is by her side. Up to the altar, just as steady as Gibraltar, the groom has got the ring, and it's such a pretty thing. But as he slips it on her finger, the choir begins to sing. Everybody! Does your chewing gum lose its flavor on the bedpost overnight? If your mother says don't chew it, do you swallow it in spite? Can you catch it on your tonsils? Can you heave it left and right? Does your chewing gum lose its flavor on the bedpost overnight? Now the nation rise as one to send their honored son up to the White House, yes, the nation's only White House, to voice their discontent unto the President upon the burning question that has swept this continent. You got it. Does your chewing gum lose its flavor on the bedpost overnight? If your mother says don't chew it, do you swallow it in spite? Can you catch it on your tonsils? Can you heave it left and right? Does your chewing gum lose its flavor on the bedpost overnight?
Thank you, John. Awesome job. All right, next we are going to welcome to the stage another Otterbein duo, accompanied by Greg Rainier. We have Ed Loring and Barb Davis. And tonight they are going to be singing for us Embraceable You.
What kept my love life lean? My intuition told me you'd come on the scene. Lady, listen to the rhythm of my heartbeat, and you'll get just what I mean.
I went about reciting, here's one who never falls. But now I'm afraid that writing is on the wall. My nose used to turn up when you besieged my heart. Now I completely burn up if you're slow to start. I'm afraid you'll have to take consequences. You upset the apple cart. Embrace me, my sweet embraceable you. Embrace me, your irreplaceable you. Just one look at you, you brought the gypsy in me. You and you alone bring out the gypsy in me. I love all the many charms about you. Above all, I want my arms about you. Don't be a naughty baby. Come to mama, come to papa too. My sweet embraceable you.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Ed and Barb. Awesome job. Buddy, we've had this discussion 3 times already. Your plant is growing. There's nobody here. Do you not understand? What part of she is not here do you not understand?
Mrs. Lipstick's here someplace.
Once again, if Mrs. Lipstick is here, please stand up.
Come on, Mrs. Lipstick. Come on, you're missing out.
You're being shy if you're here. I think she's avoiding you. She may be here and just avoiding you. Well, when this next group gets up here, they go by Jungle Jive, but we also call them the Poachers. And for very good reason. These animals didn't just appear here. This group is comprised of Greg and Susan Rainier, Teresa Greer, Eddie, and Steve Tawney. We're going from the tropical islands to Africa.
Well, I just want to say thank you for coming to see me tonight.
Eddie, they're not all here just to see you. I mean, they're here to see their friends and their families and.
What about us? Well, I guess that's okay, but some guy from California came just to see me.
Eddie, that's my son. He's just here to visit us.
Oh, hi, Seth. Well, this is a well-oiled group. We're like a machine, aren't we, guys?
Right. So should we sing or? Yeah.
Probably a good
Yeah,
idea.
I guess
so. Yeah.
Are you ready? I'm ready. You guys ready?
I guess.
We're ready. Okay.
I forgot to give her her note.
Well-oiled machine.
Well-oiled.
As they say in the old country, shame, shame.
Thank you.
There you go.
I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lions hide tonight. In the jungle, the quiet jungle, the tiger sleeps tonight.
Whoa. Greg, stop. I thought we
What's your problem?
practiced. Didn't you read the words? It's lion.
No, Eddie.
Why?
What?
We don't have a lion. We got a tiger.
Oh, for sake.
We looked for a lion, Eddie. We couldn't find one.
No,
All we could find was Dee's tiger.
we got a tiger.
Well, I like that tiger, okay. Oh, all right. We'll say tiger.
Okay,
Start over.
from the top.
From the top.
A wee minute.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the tiger sleeps tonight. In the jungle, the quiet jungle, the tiger sleeps tonight. The peaceful village, the tiger sleeps tonight. Near the village, the quiet village, the tiger sleeps tonight. Hey, Eddie,
Yeah?
you know you said you wanted to sing The Lion Sleeps Tonight.
I do, that's
All right, well, just for you, we're going to do the last verse about the lion. Okay?
Okay. And can folks join in?
Sure.
Yes.
All right.
Everybody join in. The tiger will lead you.
my darling, don't fear, my darling, the lion sleeps tonight. Hush, my darling, don't fear, my darling, the lion sleeps tonight.
A wee moo wee.
All right. Are you done?
That was good, guys.
We're gonna do the last part. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do that last part.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You guys are ready?
We're
I'm
ready.
ready.
Okay, let's do it. Well, we'll kind of do it. We got one more.
That's all, folks. How about a huge round of applause? Thank you so much. Well, we've had a ton of amazing talent tonight, and we've got one more act for you to close out the evening. And we are going to bring up the Nitwits. And I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're a group of knitters here at... Sir, we are trying to finish a show. We're trying to finish a show. Excuse me. Excuse me. We are having a show. We are having a show here.
Mrs. Lipstick's got to be here. Where's Mrs. Lipstick?
Anybody here named Mrs. Lipstick so we can get this done? Anybody? Anybody? Aww. Thank you. Anyway, this group of amazing ladies right here, not only did they get together and knit for pleasure, they knit for several causes. Knit scarves for people who need them. They've even, in my spare time, I volunteer for Make-A-Wish. They've knit hats for my Make-A-Wish kids. So it's more than just doing it as a hobby. They do it for lots of people who really need what they do. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the Nitwits.
Well, we're happy to be here again this year. This is our second year of performing, and this year we have 3 junior Nitwits joining us. We also, this is not our entire group of Nitwits, I have to tell you. There are many Nitwits sitting out there in the audience. Raise your hand, Nitwits.
Stand up, Nitwits. Stand up, Nitwits.
Well, we won't say that they were too cowardly to come and perform with us tonight. We'll just say that they volunteered to be our cheering section. Right, ladies? Right, ladies? All right. Here we go.
Hey there, Nitwits, have you any yarn? Yes, sir, covers full. Some for warm scarves, some for baby hats, some for cozy blankets, small and fat. Yes, sir, hear the needles click, helping other people like Dorcas did. Hey there, Nitwits, do you need more yarn? Yes, sir, the kind people give. Come and join the Nitwits, come and join the fun. Keep those fingers moving, nimble and young. Hey there, Nitwits, are you finished yet? No, sir,
sir, still more things to knit.
Thank you, ladies.
Pleasure.
Woo! All right, before we end this show, I need to call back up here our delivery man. Come on up here, John Kinzinger. Also, AKA my favorite pickleball partner. We take to the courts Monday night at 6 if you ever want to come watch us. Want to thank him for his fabulous rendition of being a delivery man, and unlike FedEx, he actually shows up on time. Yeah! Thank you, John. Before we end this show, let's give a great big Spirit of Otterbein round of applause for all our performers here tonight. Awesome job by everybody. I also want to thank all the partners and volunteers that make this possible. A lot of work goes into it, and a lot of it is done by Kevin and Renee. So special round of applause for those two one more time. And again, I'm Sue Suskind. I hope you'll have me back next year. In the meantime, have a great evening, and there's refreshments right behind the NPR. Have a good evening and a happy weekend.